Recording in progress.
All right, everybody, we're going to get the meeting started. First and foremost, I want to say if we can keep our conversations to a minimum. If you got a conversation that you need to have, please go out into the lobby. But the time is 1:30 p.m. and I call the August 13th, 2025 meeting of the Area Board of Zoning Appeals to order. We currently have 6 members present and 0 on Zoom of a 7-member board. If you feel your petition needs to be heard by the full board, please let the staff know now. Do not wait till your petition is called. And we will table your petition until the next meeting when we have more board members in attendance. We'll first ask for public comment from those sitting in the chambers, then call on the members attending remotely, which Shelley, my screen is not working, just so you know. If a member of the public attending remotely wishes to participate in the public comment portion of the meeting, they should indicate this by using the raise hand function in Zoom and/or by messaging the host in the chat function. Please clearly state your name and address for the record when you get up to speak. Board members, please state your name when making a motion in a second. And lastly, everybody, please silence your cell phones so that it does not disturb the meeting. Roll call, please.
Mr. Tavernier?
Here.
Mr. Byers?
Here.
Dr. Lauk?
Here.
Mr. Velman?
Here.
Mr. Ritzma?
Here.
Mr. Roush? Mr. Schaefer?
Here.
6 members present. Petition number 1, location 54118 Terrace Lane. Owner Gene L. Patterson. Requested action, variance 1 from section 154.107 sub C1 to allow a front setback of 28 feet where a minimum of 35 feet is required. Zoning R single family district, county.
Good afternoon, Faryal Sharif, Area Plan Commission staff. This is a request for a decreased front yard setback to add an addition onto the home. It would expand their kitchen and allow for a covered porch to be built. The house is currently built right at the 35-foot setback, so it would go forward a little over 6 feet. Staff is recommending denial of the variance, mainly on criteria number 2. In this case, although there is some practical difficulty, we found that the encroachment would deviate from the character of the neighborhood, since all the adjacent homes appear to be built in line at the 35-foot setback, and one home deviating from that could affect the use and value of the area adjacent in an adverse manner. This is the existing home. I will note a sentence in our staff report does say the house is about 1,440 square feet. That's actually incorrect. I apologize. It's about 740 square feet, according to what the petitioner has provided. Here is an additional angle showing the south lot line, and this is the north lot line. The lot itself is about 60 foot wide and subject to 6-foot side yard setbacks. Here is another angle looking north on Terrace Lane. All the homes on this side of the street do appear to be built at the 35-foot front setback. Directly across the street, the homes are also built in line, but the land does slope upward, so it's not as visually clear as on the east side of the street. And this is looking toward the intersection of Terrace and Macker Lane Street. This shows the layout of the existing home and the addition. The petitioner has provided these proposed exterior renderings. And finally, this shows the lot as a whole. You can see where the house would come out forward, and then they would move the walkway a bit. Looking at state law criteria, we don't find the newly proposed 28-foot setback would be so much as to block any clear site area, so it would be okay on criteria number 1. While the square footage wouldn't increase the footprint of the home significantly, as I mentioned, we felt the encroachment may still have enough of visual impact that it will appear to deviate from the established character of the adjacent homes on the east side of Terrace Lane, most of which appear to be built at the same uniform setback. For practical difficulty, we did feel there was some practical difficulty. We do note that there appears to be some room to the rear for an addition. However, the addition they're wanting to do would extend the kitchen, and the current layout of the home doesn't really allow for flexibility to make that extension elsewhere other than toward the front. Otherwise, the lot is pretty narrow at 60 foot wide and doesn't allow for additions to the side. But just to recap, we do find they're mostly okay on criteria 1 and 3, but we had issue with criteria 2, the effect on the area adjacent, which ultimately led to us recommending denial at this time. We can take any questions you may have.
Anybody got anything? No. All right, thank you. Is the petitioner present? Name and address, and you got 10 minutes.
My name is Michael Bessinger. I'm with Dyson & Sons. Address is 28621 County Road 30, Elkhart, Indiana, 46517. So the layout of the house is making it very difficult to actually expand anywhere else except towards the street. Behind the kitchen, there's a stairwell, and then behind that is a bedroom. So in order to expand the kitchen in a different manner, you'd actually have to rearrange the majority of the house, or over 50% of it, not to encroach into the front setback. Also, the current kitchen is small enough to where the current resident or client cannot even get a table in there, and that's the main reason for the addition, so that she has additional room and she can sit in her kitchen and be able to use it functionally instead of the way it is now.
Is that all you got?
That's all I got.
Anybody got any questions? I got a couple. Is the casement window, I mean, I takes you out 6 feet. You're asking for what, 7, right? There's no other way to rearrange this in order to try to dial it back?
You mean as far as reduce the amount we're coming out? So you can to a degree, maybe a foot or two, but if you look at the proposed plan where the stove is, so as you bring that wall in, you're gonna start losing counter space on that one side.
Is that 18, is that showing an 18-inch base? Is that what that is?
On which part?
Right next to the stove?
Yes, it is
Okay.
18 inches.
Yeah. That's all I got.
I did have one question, just to make sure I'm clear on it. The addition for the kitchen is gonna come all the way out, and then there's a new roof going over top of the rest of the front stoop or porch, correct, as well, too? So it'll be an extension all the way across the front of the house?
That is correct, to
Okay.
create a covered porch.
Create a covered porch, okay. So it'll bring not just a part of the house forward to that, into that 7-foot or the 28-foot setback, it's gonna bring everything into the 28-foot setback
Correct.
request.
The front of the house, if you're looking from the side, would look straight instead of having just a bump out.
Okay. Thank you.
You're re-siding, re-roofing,
Yes, the entire house.
anything with the driveway? Driveway staying right where it's at?
Driveway staying where it is.
Okay. Is
There'll
that
also be
tree
new-
staying?
I'm sorry?
Is that tree staying?
No, it will not.
Okay. So trees coming out, it's gonna open the house up a little bit.
Yep. New siding, new roofing, new windows.
roof, New windows, whole 9 yards.
New doors on most of the exterior doors. I believe the front door is a newer door, so that would remain. But garage door on the front, the man door, then the man door on the back would also be replaced.
Okay. That's all I got. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Anybody else got anything? No? Thanks, sir. All right, we'll open this up to the public. Is there anybody who would like to speak in favor of this petition? Please step forward. Seeing none. Any on Zoom? My screen's still not working. Seeing none. Is there anybody who would like to speak against this petition? Please step forward. Seeing none. Any on Zoom? Seeing none, public portion is now closed. You guys got anything else, or I'll take a motion? Nothing?
I was just gonna comment that in reviewing the rest of the houses, the staff's report is correct. Not a lot of them a lot of them meet that 35-foot setback. It looks like, by what I saw in these aerials, people chose to extend backwards, but I don't know what the layout of their home was. Obviously, with this one, the kitchen being laid out in the front, it makes the most sense. Homes of this era didn't embrace the large, beautiful kitchens like we do today, so this is a opportunity for them to expand one area of their house, improving the rest of it. So I myself don't see an issue with it, so I would make a motion to approve the variance as requested.
Dr. Lauk, second.
All right, motion and a second.
Mr. Byers?
Yes.
Mr. Ritzma?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Feldman?
Yes.
Dr. Lauk?
Yes.
Mr. Tavernier?
Yes, based on the testimony presented here today, after careful consideration, the Area Board of Zoning Appeals grants your variance and will issue written findings of effects. Thank you.
Location 21711, State Road 4 Highway. Owner Dennis L. and Cindy Sherman. Requested action, variance number 1 from section 154.092 sub A to allow a lot area of 4.8 acres where a minimum of 20 acres is required. Variance number 2 from section 154.092 sub D to allow a side east setback of 6 foot where 30 feet is required for an existing garage. Zoning A agricultural district, county.
Here, here. Adia Smith? Oh. That makes more sense. Okay. Adia Smith, Area Plan Commission staff. The petitioner is seeking 2 variances on a 10.22 acre parcel in the agricultural district. They're seeking to split a 4.8 acre parcel for the existing family dwelling structure, as well when the 20 acres are required. The second variance consists of a setback of 6 feet where 30 feet are required for an existing garage structure. The staff is recommending approval on both variances. This is the area of the, I'm sorry, mouse is going crazy. This is the area of the site located on State Road 4. As you can see, this is the current house setup, and you can see zoomed in, this is the existing garage structure located on the east side of the property. Both the properties adjacent to this parcel are also under common ownership, and so, as well as the property next to it and along the west. This is the property across the street, so you can see that there are neighbors in this area. However, it is very spaced out. When looking at the state criteria, we do not feel approval would be injurious to the health, safety, or general welfare. The variance does not remove any land from the agricultural production, but instead it will split the area that has the single-family dwelling and the accessory structure so that where no agricultural use is presently occurring. Therefore, allowing the accessory structure to continue to exist at its present location will also have no impact on the broader community. As far as the second criteria, we feel that the use and value of the existing area will not be adversely affected. The proposed subdivision does not create an additional residential use, and the area allows for the land in the rear to continue its agricultural production. The detached accessory structure is pre-existing, and it's abutting an agricultural lot with common ownership. Thus, it will have minimal impact on the adjacent properties. And lastly, for the final criteria, the strict application would prohibit the subdivision from separating the dwelling from cultivated portions of the property, an action that would ultimately ensure ongoing agricultural productions on the proposed remainder of the 5-acre outlot if the home is ever sold. The strict application of the side setback would compel the demolition and relocation of an existing structure, which would not further the public interest. Therefore, we recommend both variances approval, and we'll be happy to take any questions.
Any questions? No? Terry?
My name's Terry Lang from the Whiteman office. Our address is 1402 Mishawaka Avenue here in South Bend. I represent the petitioners here, the Shermans. Give you a little bit of history. This is originally part of the original, dates back about 5 or 6 generations, the Sherman property. Over the years, parcels have been split off, and Mr. and Mrs. Sherman are buying those parcels. As the staff had indicated, they own parcels on both sides of it. They want to kind of put the family farm back together and to continue agricultural use of that property. Their goal is to, obviously, once this gets split, the home will go up for sale then, and they'll continue to own the tillable portion of that. And I'd be, the variances for the buildings are obvious, they're existing, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
You don't want mine, Terry. The property that, I'm looking at the property lines next to it. What are they gonna do about the landlocked piece on the, I guess it'd be the northwest corner?
They own the property on both sides, so
Yeah, the way you've got this design, the middle property, if it gets sold off, is cutting that off from the road. Now it goes to the road. And if the property lines are correct on this picture, that piece there on the northwest.
Shelley,
corner
could you
would
take
be
it to the aerial map, please?
Just click on the PowerPoint, I'll do it.
Talking this piece right here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that piece right there. If you section it out, how do you get to it?
It's not landlocked because they own the properties on both sides of it.
But the property lines landlock it.
You're going to have to explain yourself because
Okay, if it's a separate parcel, it's a separate parcel.
once they have all the parcels back together, they can tax key merge all of them together.
All I know is what they won't allow down at the assessor's office,
I'm really
Auditor's
confused as to what the,
The auditor would allow them to be consolidated together as
Will they
under
allow
common
that in
ownership.
the
Yep.
auditor's office?
As long as they're the owners all the way around it, in this case, yes.
Okay. That's my only concern, was access to that parcel.
Joe.
Hey, I've been through it with the auditor's office, so don't go telling me no.
It's fine. The other question I had, Terry, is to your knowledge, if you have any knowledge, when was that garage put on that lot line at that point, do you know?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
Out of morbid curiosity, so yeah, thanks.
Anybody else? No? Thanks, Terry.
Uh-huh.
All right, we'll open it up to the public. Is there anybody that would like to speak in favor of this petition? Please step forward. See none. I'm sorry. Name and address, and you got 3 minutes.
Dennis Sherman, and I own the property at 21711 State Road 4. Just to answer a couple questions. That is about 30 to 35 years old, the garage. And I think the piece of purple that Mr. Schaefer had a question about is this one? Is that
Correct.
correct? That is owned by these people. There's common ownership here. It currently is for sale. Okay?
Okay,
I own this part, my wife and I own this, and we own these two over here. We're
okay.
trying to keep all this farm, and hopefully someday I'll be able to acquire that. Any other questions I could answer? All right, thank you very much.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak in favor of this petition? Please step forward. See none. Any on Zoom? See none. Is there anybody that would like to speak against this petition? Please step forward. See none. Any on Zoom? Seeing none, public portion is now closed. You guys got anything else, or I'll take a motion?
Tom Byers, I move for approval of the variances as outlined in the staff report.
Dr. Lauk, second.
We have a first and a second. Mr. Bellman?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Ritzma?
Yes.
Mr. Byers?
Yes.
Dr. Lauk?
Yes.
Mr. Tavernier?
Yes, based on the testimony presented here today, after careful consideration, the Area Board of Zoning Appeals grants your variances and will issue written findings of the facts. Thank you.
Petition number 3, location 50859 Michigan Road. Owner, Katie M. Lewis. Requested action, variance number 1 from section 154.070, sub C2D1A, to allow a 5-foot tall fence with less than 70% open space in the minimum front yard where 36 inches is permitted. Zoning R Single Family District, County.
Alrighty. Okay, Farial Sharif Area Plan Commission staff. This is a request to permit a 5-foot tall privacy fence in the front yard, the area between the front lot line and the front facade of the home. This petition may be familiar, as the property owner did apply back in February of this year to permit a 6-foot fence after they were red tagged by the building department. The BZA denied that request 5-2. The standard is that they are not permitted taller than a 3-foot solid fence in the front yard. While this request brings them closer to that standard, staff was still unable to find practical difficulty to warrant the taller fence and recommends denial. This is the home on site. The fence on the north property line to the right is newer. That was the one that was originally red tagged, and the south one was there previously. The fence is currently 6 foot tall on both sides, so if it is approved, they would have to reduce to the 5 foot requested. This is looking south on Michigan and north with a portion of the fence captured. There it is again north, more so capturing the other side of the fence or the street directly across from the petitioner's property. In addition to these pictures, the petitioner has submitted a number of images that I have included in your packet. These are pictures of both their fence and other fences. This is the site plan submitted by the petitioner. They can have a taller 6-foot fence in the backyard, but not the front. Looking at state law criteria, the fence as requested is unlikely to be injurious to the public health, safety, or morals because it doesn't go all the way to the street and doesn't block visibility for motorists. As far as criteria 2, although taller fences in the front yard are uncharacteristic in residential neighborhoods, we do acknowledge that there are other fences and front yards in this neighborhood, many of which are not meeting the requirement of the ordinance. At 5 foot tall along the sides rather than parallel to the front, it would not block the view of the property from most angles, so we don't find it would affect the neighborhood in an adverse manner. However, we were still unable to find practical difficulty to support the request. Any of the adjacent solid fences and front yards over 3 foot would have most likely been unauthorized. There does not appear to be anything peculiar to the property that warrants the additional screening in the front yard. For that reason, we do recommend denial. We did receive 2 letters in support from neighbors who state they have no issue with the fence. One states it doesn't affect clear vision and they like the privacy it gives. We can take any questions at this time.
I guess, like, one question for staff is, you noted, and I also noticed that there are other properties in this neighborhood with a fence greater than the 3 foot allowed. Do they get red tagged at this point as well too, or what does that look like unless somebody makes a complaint?
It's our red tags are complaint-based.
Okay.
So yeah, this was red tagged as a result of a complaint. So I think they were working on the side that looks newer. I think that a lot of the other fences, not all of them, but a lot of the other ones may have been there prior to us requiring permits for fences as well, and this is the reason why we started requiring
Sure, but
them.
they're still legal at this point.
No, they wouldn't necessarily be legal.
No,
So
is it illegal at this point because they
Yeah.
exceed 3 foot?
yes.
Okay. That's all.
Good. Is the petitioner present? Yes. Name and address, and you got 10 minutes.
Hi, my name is Katie, and I live at 50859 Michigan Road, South Bend. I wanted to say good afternoon, and thank you for hearing my variance request. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. There's a lot of people in here. Wanted to explain a little bit about why the permit was not pulled. I put a down payment in with a contractor March of 2023. He said a permit was not necessary. The work was completed in May 2023, and meanwhile, in April, the law went into effect. So I'm assuming he wasn't aware or did not relay that to me, and no permit was obtained. While I understand that the ordinance went way back to 1977, as stated in the first variance hearing, I want you to consider that this fence, the newer portion was up in 1990. It got damaged in a tornado in 2008 and was destroyed. But back in 1990, when it was installed, the north and south fence, people didn't have the internet. Like, they couldn't get on and just look up ordinances. At that time, it was very common. You talk to your neighbor, are you okay with this fence? Yes, I'm okay. Put the fence up. It was very, very common in my neighborhood. I had moved out of the house after the fence had gotten destroyed, and I returned to the home in 2022. That's when I realized that I did need the privacy that was originally there when I purchased the home in 1999. I don't want to get into too many details because there's so many people in here, but me and my daughter live there alone. I've got 7 grandchildren that visit. We've got a neighbor 3 houses north that if he sees us in our yard, he approaches us. He's an old, intoxicated man, to say the least, with a long criminal record. When we first moved in, we couldn't mow the lawn. We couldn't go out and clean our cars out. We couldn't take the trash out with this man coming up and not illegally harassing us, just approaching us, trying to talk to us. And we'd tell him, get out of the yard. He'd ride his lawnmower down and leave it in my front yard. Handed me a wad of money one day, and I was like, can you leave my yard? What is this? He said, well, I thought maybe you would go to dinner with me if I paid you. So just very inappropriate behavior. Also, I've provided, I think you guys got in your packet, the list of sex offenders that are within houses of me. I believe there's 10 total within a mile, but 4 of them are really close, like within a few houses of mine. With it being just me and my daughter, that's scary. Guess I can carry my gun out. I don't want to. I shouldn't have to. When we put that fence up in 2023, the neighbor up the road couldn't see us. He quit approaching us. Life was good. There was no complaints made on that fence for the first over a year. The red tag came from the guy diagonal who has a fence all the way around his house that is way taller than 6 foot. He was being red tagged. He had a building inspector over and told him, well, if you file a complaint on hers and she gets a variance, then you'll have standing to get your own variance. I think that's unethical of whoever that inspector was. And it's just ridiculous to me that I was even brought into this mess, but that man's name is Tony. I filed an information request to find out when he complained. They have no record, nothing, not a anonymous complaint, not a date when the complaint was made. And so eventually I asked him, hey, why'd you complain? He said the guy persuaded him to do it, gave him all the information, told him how to make the complaint. This very same man, Tony, came to my last variance hearing and spoke for me in approval of my fence height. I think that the whole situation's unethical. I don't think someone should be able to complain about your home and then come to your variance hearing and speak for it when he's the one that made the complaint. It's weird that a building inspector would even suggest that.
So, can we, whatever accusations that are being made and so on, can we move on from those? Because there's no way that we know any of this, and
Well, I
that's
mean,
got-
it's on record that he made the complaint,
Oh,
and it's on record that he came and spoke for me.
I remember this petition. I just
Okay.
want to try to,
Okay, so during my first variance request, a few issues that were mentioned. was the traffic views may be an issue. Your board here has, stated that it isn't. If you look in even this picture here, if you get the one of my fence up, you can see that the cars park farther out than my fence go. And no way does it obstruct a view of anyone pulling in and out of their driveway. My neighbor directly to the north is the one that submitted the letter. They love the fence. They love the flowers by the fence. They said that there's several fences on my street that are identical to mine. What's also concerning to me is that complaint is the only thing that's really making me change my fence. The south fence was not tagged, therefore it can stay up. However, I am not allowed to repair it. Now, since those photos, the neighbor's tree fell and broke 2 pickets. I can leave my fence up and let it look not nice, it takes away from the curb appeal, or I can get the variance and repair the fence. But those are my choices. As far as the north fence, also in the last hearing, it was mentioned that there's other ways that I could go about it than having a fence to get privacy. And there are. And I've, sought people's opinions, like, how do you guys get privacy? And I've submitted pictures of all the bushes and brush and chain link that they let vines grow up. It doesn't look nice. It doesn't look clean. It's high maintenance. As far as bushes, as you can see, that fence is pretty close to my home. In front is my well. To point C, my water lines go around that house. I would have to move in the bushes at least 3 feet so that the neighbor's cars wouldn't brush against them. Then I'm at risk of all those roots getting into the foundation of my home or into my water lines. All just to protect me and my daughter from, but it's common in my neighborhood, like everybody else in the neighborhood, and my south fence is okay. And I just feel like it's a bit ridiculous that I was drug into this mess, especially when the complaint was basically taken back. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. I had a bunch of stuff written down. Do you guys have any questions? Huh?
You got 2 minutes.
Do you have any questions for me?
I got, you don't have any?
Okay, so I just want to go through A, B, and C real quick of the requirements. A, it has been said by the board that it's not injurious to public health, safety, morals, or welfare. The value of the area adjacent will not be affected by my fence. It doesn't affect anyone other than my north neighbors, and they wrote a letter of support. For C, the strict application would require me to move my fence down, and which would allow view into my yard so that me and my daughter will again be harassed by the neighbors and at risk of the peeping toms that live only a few homes away. And I guess that's it.
Okay, thank you. Nothing? Okay. Is there anybody that would like to speak in favor of this petition? Please step forward. Amy, you got 3 minutes.
My name's Amy Drake. I'm a county councilwoman, and I represent Ms. Lewis. She also goes by Mrs. Pahalski. I want to represent her today. I believe that she meets the qualification of a variance. She's a good citizen, and that's why she's here today. This fence was put up for the public safety of women and children, as Mrs. Pahalski had concerns about neighbors that she considered that were risks to her. And for the welfare of her and her family, this is an important thing to have in her front yard. This fence is substantially similar to other structures in the neighborhood. It is not out of character. It is consistent. There's no negative impact because the impact is the same as her surrounding area. Additionally, the fact that the public understood that these size fences were allowed because it had never otherwise been enforced, as you heard that there are all these fences up that are the same size. And while the law changed within 30 days of Ms. Pahalski erecting this fence to require a building permit, it's very reasonable to understand that contractors and/or the public did not yet know of these changes, and Mrs. Pahalski was assuming that she was operating within the law. Finally, this would be an economic hardship to have to take down an fence, and fences are very expensive to put up. I might add, not only is there no negative impact with this fence, it actually has a positive impact. I went out to Mrs. Polsky's house. Her house is one of the nicest kept houses on the whole street. She's certainly not somebody who should be in trouble with code enforcement. So I encourage you today to grant Mrs. Pahalski her variance.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak in favor of the petition? Please step forward. Seeing none, any on Zoom? Seeing none, is there anybody that would like to speak against this petition? Please step forward. Seeing none, any on Zoom? Seeing none, public portion is now closed. You guys got anything else, or I'll take a motion?
Dr. Lauk, I make a motion that we approve the variance as presented.
Donnie Ritzma, second.
We have a first and a second. Mr. Byers?
No.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Velman?
No.
Mr. Ritzma?
Yes.
Dr. Lauk?
Yes.
Mr. Tavernier?
Correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm gonna make this statement, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. The ordinance didn't change. It was just that we had to pull a permit after April, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So, my answer here is there are a lot of houses in this neighborhood that have these fences. One side of your property has one that, if it's up, it's essentially illegal, but there's nothing that can be done about it. Had this fence been there, I think it makes your house uniform, and it does give you security and privacy. I apologize for what you're going through, and what you've had to go through, but had the fence not been replaced, you wouldn't be here right now. So I'll vote yes. So based on the testimony presented here today, after careful consideration, the Area Board of Zoning Appeals grants your variance and will issue written findings of the facts. Thank you.
Petition number 4, location 50780 Tumbleweed Trail. Owner George R. and Jacqueline L. Doy. Requested action, variance number 1 from section 154.070, sub C 2D 2A, to allow for a 0-foot setback for a 6-foot privacy fence abutting a facing north street where a minimum of 8 foot is required on a corner lot. Zoning R single-family district, county.
All right, Farial Sharif again. This property is a corner lot on the corner of Buffalo Trail and Tumbleweed Trail. This fence came to us as the petitioner applied for a building permit to construct a new fence to replace their old one. As you probably know, we have special regulation for fences on a corner lot where a property owner may have a larger privacy fence on one of their fronts, but it must be behind the rear facade of the home, and it must meet the applicable side yard setback. Upon review, we could not approve the fence as the portion proposed to face Buffalo Trail does not meet the side yard setback, and it was also discovered that there is a pool on the property in that location, which likely does not meet the side yard setback either. We do recommend approval of the variance. This is the property as viewed from the corner. And this is a closer look at the section they want to screen. There was a fence here previously. My understanding is that it was damaged, and that's why they need the new one. The fence would go right against where the pool is. They would replace other portions of the fence, but the only part that needs the variance is the section facing Tumbleweed Trail. This side lot line abuts a retention area. This is looking on Buffalo Trail toward Tumbleweed Trail. This is the other direction, looking toward the adjacent subdivision. The right-of-way along Buffalo Trail is quite wide, so we don't find the taller fencing would block vehicle visibility on a street like this. There is a similar fence to what is proposed at the entrance to the other adjacent subdivision. Again, just showing adjacent homes, property across Buffalo Trail. This picture shows what the previous fence looked like. The new fencing would go in the same spot. This is the fencing contract. It does show all the areas of the fence they plan to replace on the property, and also 2 gates to get to the pool area. The fence style would be upgraded from the wooden fencing. Here's an additional site plan showing the fencing proposed around the pool. Looking at state law criteria, as stated, the right-of-way at Buffalo Trail is 50 foot wide. The fence would go right about on the property line, but it wouldn't be exactly at the road and wouldn't obstruct vision for pedestrians or cars. The adjacent properties are unlikely to be affected in an adverse manner. There was a 6-foot fence in this location previously without complaints on file, and we find a new fence in the same location may actually improve the appearance of the property. Finally, strict application would not allow the property owner to construct a fence that is otherwise appropriate for privacy, noise, and security reasons. The fence could not be moved to meet the minimum setback requirement without forcing relocation of the pool. For these reasons, we recommend approval and can take any questions.
I actually do have a question.
Okay.
And only because this came up in a situation with trying to build a house. In Mishawaka, on a corner lot, the bigger front, or the bigger corner front yard is what they consider the front yard, and the smaller section would be considered a side yard. I didn't even know that existed until I had to deal with this house. Is that something that we could potentially look at, since we do run into this a lot?
I mean, we certainly could. Since the ordinance was adopted in 2005, with the exception of fences, which we amended, it allows the property owner to essentially pick which one serves as the front. So as long as they're meeting the front setback for everything involved on one of the side lot line, or one of the front lot lines, they can treat the other one as a side. But even in that case, when they were treating it as a side, we still wanted, for the sake of fences, for them to meet that 8-foot side setback.
Okay. Okay. Sorry to interrupt your time.
No, you're
Just
fine.
wanted to ask that, it popped in my head. Name and address, and you got 10 minutes, please.
Jacqueline Doy, it's 50780 Tumbleweed.
Can you speak into
Sorry.
the other one?
Jacqueline
The other
Doy.
one.
Jacqueline Doy, 50780 Tumbleweed Trail. So the fence has been there for 45 years. We were just trying to replace it with the same fence, just a newer version.
Okay. That all you got?
That's all I got.
That's all you got? All right. Let's go. You guys got any questions?
No.
No? All right, thank you. Appreciate it. We'll open it up to the public. Is there anybody who would like to speak in favor of this petition? Please step forward. See none. Any on Zoom? See none. Is there anybody who would like to speak against this petition? Please step forward. See none. Any on Zoom? See none. Public portion is now closed. You guys got anything else, or I'll take a motion?
Dr. Lauk, I make a motion to approve the variance as presented.
Donnie Ritzma, second.
We have a first and a second. Mr. Veltman?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Ritzma?
Yes.
Dr. Lauk?
Yes.
Mr. Byers?
Yes.
Mr. Tavernier?
Yes, based on testimony presented here today, after careful consideration, the area Board of Zoning Appeals grants your variance and will issue written findings of the facts. Thank you. You don't have to stick around if you don't want to.
Petition number 5, location 12806 Sandy Court. owner SCFRC Funding, the fourth LLC, requested action, variance number 1 from section 154.212 sub C1B to allow a 1-foot setback from a future roadway easement where 15 feet is required for an off-street parking area. Zoning I Industrial District, County.
This is Sean Klein, APC Director. So this request concerns an industrially zoned property at the edge of, at the end of Sandy Court. The aerial is way out of date. There is an existing building and parking area on the property. What the petitioner would like to do is extend the parking area slightly to the north. Ordinarily, this would be a side lot line, so they would be able to extend that property such that, or the parking lot such that it would be 10 feet from that shared lot line. In the specific instance, there is a platted future roadway easement on the lot. And as a result of this future roadway easement, per the zoning ordinance, this effectively counts as a front, and the parking area would need to be set back 15 feet from this future roadway easement. Staff does recommend approval of the variance request. Again, if that future roadway easement were not there, they would be able to locate within 10 feet of that shared property line. As it is, they would have to set back 35 feet. We don't believe that there's any sufficient public purpose to not allow the parking lot expansion, which allows the parking lot to come within 1 foot of the future roadway easement. Even if the road were extended, we confirmed with the county engineer that this would be adequate spacing between the road surface and the parking surface to allow for access to the west should that ever be developed. And in the short term, it'll be set back further than what's typically required in the I Industrial District. And then briefly turning to the state law criteria, allowing the parking area to be built within 1 foot of a future, potential future right-of-way would have no impact on the broader community such that it would be detrimental to public health, morals, or general welfare. We did confirm that this would not be detrimental to public safety in terms of the use of this future road if it's developed. Per the second criteria, the use and value of the area adjacent would not be affected in a adverse manner as the lot line in question does have another industrial use to the north, and typically the parking area could be built even closer to that. Finally, strict application of the terms of this chapter would deny the opportunity for an owner to make a slight expansion to a parking lot which is serving an established industrial operation where it still maintains an appropriate setback from the shared lot line and the potential future road. Beyond that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Questions?
So I just want to make sure I'm clear on this.
Yeah.
There's a plotted road potential that could go out of the court, and they're asking to build within 1 foot of that potential road?
Correct.
Okay.
And I should say that's the right of way. It's not going to be like.
Okay, that's what I'm asking, because,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, the little tiny picture that I can see here that shows it really, really close. And
Right,
like,
right.
You know, if and when that would ever happen, there's some implications there, so. But what's it gonna connect to, if anything, and what's else is gonna go down there, right? So.
Yeah, I would, if the property to the west were ever developed and connected to the
Right.
industrial subdivision, so.
And
hard to say.
if that property line is accurate, their property line is in the middle of that platted road.
It is, that's correct.
Okay. Understood, thanks. No, I'm not, that's why it's questions.
Chris?
Sean, could that easement be vacated?
It could be vacated, but we would like to retain that
Okay.
in case there is development to the west.
Any more questions? Now, Chris.
Hi there. Chris Galuski, Abbenmarsh, 315 West Jefferson Boulevard, South Bend. I'm here representing Tim Schrock from Ancon and the landowner. Yeah, thanks for the positive staff report. That covered a lot of the details. And the reason for the added lanes to the north part, which encroaches close to that easement, is business is good, and some of overflow parking is actually being extended into the right-of-way. So currently, there's parking in the right-of-way for cars that are going to work on this property every day. So adding those umpteen spaces on the north end allow for parking to be on site. Having 1 foot allows for that separation from the easement, the parking space, the appropriate aisle width, the existing parking that abuts the building, and then the sidewalk and the landscaping area. So we're making sure everything can fit according to the county standards. And if that road were ever to be approved, if it's a 11 or 12-foot travel lane with a 1 or 2 foot shoulder, that still gives it about anywhere from 10 to 15 feet from a curbed area of the parking area to any improved surface of a roadway. So there still is a good distance between the two if that was ever improved. If you have any questions on the operations or the business, Tim can answer that. That's kind of the high level of the request, and we'd ask you for approval, and I can take any questions you have.
You guys got any questions? Neither do I. Thanks, Chris.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll open it up to the public. Is there anybody that'd like to speak in favor of this petition? Please step forward. Seeing none. Any on Zoom? If they raise their hand, don't they go to the top?
Usually.
So do we have to go through all of them? Okay.
Be on the safe
So
side.
seeing none, is there anybody who would like to speak against this petition? Please step forward. Name and address, and you got 3 minutes.
John Ryle, 50600 Cherry Road, Granger, 46530. Okay, I own the 19 acres to the west of the building, and I don't see any reason why they can't live with that setback if it's a law. If they don't, it's going to impact the value of my property if it's ever developed residentially.
Okay.
And the other issue I've got is when they built that building, there was a fence row with trees in it and all this stuff. And they questioned me, asked me if they could clean that up, and I gave them approval to it, but they never cleaned up the mess, and I had a heck of a time getting it cleaned up so they could plant the corn and soybeans there. So I guess that's all I have.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak against this petition? Please step forward. Seeing none. Any on Zoom? We already closed it, sir. Sorry. Seeing none, public portion is now closed. Chris, you have 5 minutes.
Yeah, the two comments, first one in the tree row, not sure about that matter. I could at least just pass that along to the landowner about maintenance on the west property line. And then the parking, the existing pavement already occupies a good portion of that area going north. So the overall pavement would extend about less than 10 feet. So some of that's already a traveled lane going east and west close to that easement. So the extension of about 10 more feet of pavement, and then the reorganization of the aisle and the parking spaces would occupy that space. So when looking at that from the west looking east, you would see a very little difference with additional pavement. If you could see past the tree row as it's proposed. So there is more of an addition of, improved surface there, but would not be significant, as the aisle goes on the west side of the building too. So the whole west property predominantly is asphalt as well.
Okay.
Can I ask Chris a question still? So is there, were there other options identified potentially, such as changing the parking to angled parking so you could go down both sides and not have to extend so far out in the easement, or other types of parallel parking opportunities that could have, not have to be so close?
This would maximize the space allowed, and because it's a tight space, the additional storm storage is actually going to go underground. So perpendicular is the best approach to get the most spaces. And there is really no circulation around the whole building, as there's also storm detention on the south end of the building.
Okay, so there's no way to go
Correct,
around to do
correct.
parallel, or do angle parking and then go out? Okay.
Correct.
Anything else? No? All right, thank you. You guys got anything else, or I'll take a motion?
I have one more question for Chris.
Chris?
Chris, you may not be able to answer this, and you may require the owner. Is this parking for employees or for finished product? Because I see a lot of finished product sitting on the lot that takes up a lot of employee spaces, so that is a little detrimental.
Tim Schrock, Ancon Construction, 2121 West Wilden Avenue, Goshen, Indiana. It is going to be all employee parking. They've added 7 employees since we finished the building a year and a half ago. So they are expanding, and it'll be basically all employee parking there. The only ones that you see there are as clients come in, they park their vehicles there as they come in to pick up their new conversions.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? No? Okay. Now, you guys got anything else to talk about, or I'll take a motion?
Tom Byers, I make a recommendation to approve the variances as outlined and recommended in the staff report.
Dr. Lauk, second.
We have a first and a second. Mr. Ritzma?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Vellman?
I'm going to preface my vote with a commentary. This board has made, in past meetings, several variances for parking of much less than is typically required by ordinance. And I'm personally, how would I say this, patronizing 2 of those parking lots that have woeful parking experiences because of what we've allowed to happen on variances with less parking. This is actually asked for more parking, but it potentially could be detrimental to the surrounding, there could be contention that's detrimental to the surrounding area. And I think to the neighbor's point, I would agree to disagree on the value of the neighboring lot. So I'm going to say, in this case, since they're actually asking for more parking because they're needing more and going about it the right way, I'd say yes.
Mr. Byers?
Yes.
Dr. Lauk?
Yes.
Mr. Tavernier?
Yes. Based on the testimony presented here today, after careful consideration, the Area Board of Zoning Appeals grants your variance and will issue written findings of effects. Thank you.
Petition number 6, 15750 Patterson Road. Owner Tyler and Tyler Dougherty and Alexandria Gordy requested action, variance number 1, from section 154.092 sub A to allow a minimum lot area of 3.4 acres where 20 acres is required for a lot in a proposed minor subdivision. Zoning, R Single Family District County, and A Agricultural District County.
Farial Sharif, Area Plan Commission staff. This petition and the next one applies to 2 properties not far from the Wyatt area in Madison Township near Bremen. The property owners would like to adjust lot lines through the subdivision process so that the smaller property in the northwest corner has additional acreage to the rear and to the east. Is that mine? No, okay, sorry. As you can see from the zoning map, a portion of the property is Zone A agricultural. In these cases, the ordinance requires that the stricter of the two district standards must be applied to the new lot, which means it must meet the 20-acre lot size of the A agricultural district in order for them to subdivide. Staff recommends approval of the variance to allow them to adjust lot lines in a reasonable manner. This is the current house on Patterson Road. This is looking east on Patterson and west. These are additional homes on Patterson Road. While there are properties to the west zoned agricultural, this subject property is closer in proximity to the Wyatt area where there are residential uses, and this lot would not be out of character with that. Here is the site plan showing how they would adjust the lot lines. So no actual changes to the uses of the properties. The single-family home that is gaining acreage would remain. Looking at state law criteria, we find that the approval would not result in any change that would adversely affect the public health or safety or surrounding area. The previous lot was actually smaller in area, but the subdivision triggers the requirement to meet the stricter standard. Strict application would not allow them to adjust lot lines in a manner that's otherwise practical and logical. I can take any questions at this time.
Any questions? No? Terry.
Terry Lang from the Whiteman office. Our address is 1402 Mishawaka Avenue in South Bend, representing the petitioners. Pharrell's explanation is the house at the northwest corner of our site right there desired some additional property. They approached the petitioner in the next petition for purchasing some additional property with the zoning line running right through the middle of it. And this is just my comment. Zoning lines should never run through the middle of a piece of property. They should follow property lines, but that's my comment. But in this case, the restrictions made it more difficult to be able to go through this process. And we had two lots, and we're making this two lots. And the configurations and the requirements that we're asking for is to allow that to happen. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I can see it.
No, I guess I'm on, that is the proposed subdivision we're talking about, because I didn't see anything in here, Nikki, where the original property line was.
The original property line, if you look real closely, is a dotted line around the house right there.
If you look at the aerial, there is like a red line.
Yeah, you can see it better with the aerial
Yeah.
there.
Oh, okay.
There is a very faint dotted line around it.
Terry, I'm getting old, I can't see this stuff.
You don't need to tell me about getting old.
That's why I bring this.
Understood. Thank you, appreciate the clarification.
All right, thanks, Terry. We'll open this up to the public. Is there anybody who would like to speak in favor of this petition? Please step forward. See none. Any on Zoom? Seeing none, public portion is now closed. Or, no, I'm sorry, gosh dang it. Is there anybody who would like to speak against this petition? Please step forward. Seeing none. Any on Zoom? See none, now the public portion is now closed. You guys got anything, or I'll take a motion?
What, are we voting on 1 or 2?
6.
Just 6?
Six right now.
Just 6.
Tom
Yes, they're
Byers, I
split.
move for,
They're split. That's like-
I move for approval of
split into
petition number
two.
6 in accordance with the staff recommendation.
Donnie Ritzman, second.
We have a first and a second. Mr. Velman?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Dr. Lauk?
Yes.
Mr. Byers?
Yes?
Mr. Ritzma?
Yes.
Mr. Tavernier?
Yes. Can I wait to say my, no, I gotta say it now, right? the speech? Based
Yeah.
on the testimony presented here today, after careful consideration, the area Board of Zoning Appeals grants your variance and will issue written findings of the facts.
I have a question. So this was proposed lot 1, does that stay A or does it go to R?
The zoning wouldn't change.
Okay, so now the
It would
entire.
have to be rezoned in order
Okay,
for
so the entire
zoning to
zoning
be
now, that
effective.
entire plot goes to A. Perfect. Okay. Thank you. Wouldn't change my vote, just curious. Always.
Petition number 7, location 66801, State Road 331 Highway. Owner Thomas H. and Susan D. Schlarb, Revocable Trust. Requested action, variance number 1 from section 154.092 sub A to allow a minimum lot area of 3.4 acres where 20 acres is required for a lot in a proposed minor subdivision. Zoning R single family district county and A agricultural district county.
So as Brandy was going to say, this is the same request as the last one. It just had to be separated into two because of two separate property ownership of the subject parcels. So you just have to grant it again, if you want to grant it again, for it to be binding. Still recommending approval.
Okay. Any questions?
I'm just trying to figure out how this is a State Road 331 address when there's no frontage on 331.
No, the house does.
That's not this proposed lot 2.
That's true, it's not part of the lot.
The county surveyor assigns addresses, so we can take it up with them.
So it identifies as a State Road 331 house?
Let's not bring him in.
That's what was in our system.
Okay, sorry, Terry, there's no frontage on 331, so I'm wondering how is the 331 address?
The original plat was, there's two
There you
parcels
go.
on 331, and this was part of the third lot that was behind them. That's how that name was carried over.
Will they all be absorbed?
Yes.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Terry. I didn't say anything.
My presentation is ditto for the previous one.
Ditto, love it. You guys got any questions? No. No? All right.
Not now.
Is there anybody, we'll open this up to the public. Is there anybody who would like to speak in favor of this petition, please step forward. Seeing none. Any on Zoom? Seeing none. Is there anybody who would like to speak against this petition, please step forward. Seeing none. Any on Zoom? Seeing none, public portion is now closed. You guys got anything else, or I'll take another motion?
Dr. Lauk, I make a motion that we approve number 7 of the variance as presented.
Donnie Ritzma, second.
We have a first and a second. Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Vellman?
Yes.
Mr. Byers?
Yes?
Dr. Lauk?
Yes.
Mr. Ritzma?
Yes.
Mr. Tavernier?
Yes, based on the testimony presented here today, after careful consideration, the area Board of Zoning Appeals grants your variance and will issue written findings of the facts. Thank you.
Petition number 8, location, plus or minus 22.58 acre parcel located east of Holy Cross Parkway and west of State Road 933 Highway. Owner, Brothers of Holy Cross Incorporated. Requested action, variance from section 154.122, sub D1, to allow an interior access drive to be located within the minimum front yard. Zoning R2 Residential District County and U University District County.
Shelley, could you click on the PowerPoint? All right, Farial Sharif, Area Plan Commission staff. This petition pertains to the Holy Cross Village at Notre Dame Senior Living Community. The portion of the property that actually contains the Holy Cross Village is zoned R2, while the remainder is zoned in the University District and has other accessory uses. The Holy Cross Village would like to build some townhomes to expand their community. See if this is working, in this area here. They would like to have an access drive that goes to the rear of the townhomes. However, the development standards of the R2 district do not allow for interior access drives to be located in the minimum front yard, and SR 933 is considered a front here. Thus, a variance is required to allow this drive. I'm skipping ahead to the site plan so you can see this more clearly. The drive would run parallel to East Village Drive, which is another access drive, and then loop to be parallel to SR 933. There are some existing homes on the south side of East Village Drive. I believe they would replace those for townhomes there and then additional ones along the rest of the undeveloped portion. The new drive would then run to the rear of the townhomes. It would come from Holy Cross Parkway. There's actually no access proposed from SR 933. We recommend approval of the variance. This is one of the existing homes on the north side of East Village Drive. This is where the existing East Village Drive access curves around. This is the existing fence facing State Road 933. They are proposing to maintain similar fencing once the project is completed. This is another angle where the townhomes would be built. This is Holy Cross Parkway. So the access drive would come off here, similar to how East Village Drive is now. This is again from Holy Cross Parkway looking toward the portion zoned U. This is the site plan again. Looking at state law criteria, approval would not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare. While State Road 933 would be considered a front to this parcel, no access to the proposed townhomes is actually proposed from the highway and thus would not present any safety concerns. The use and value of the adjacent properties is unlikely to be affected. The surrounding properties are mainly owned by Holy Cross, and the property would continue to be used in the same manner. And the townhomes themselves are permitted in the R2 district. It's just the access drive in the front yard that requires the variance. The proposal is in line with the intent of the R2 district. Additionally, interior access drives actually are permitted in the front yard in the university district. So if further development were proposed on the rest of the parcel in the future, this would allow for more cohesive development while still allowing the R2 zoning to remain. For these reasons, we recommend approval and can take any questions.
Anybody got any questions? No? Petitioner? Name and address, please, and you got 10 minutes.
Thank you. My name's Jeff Ballard. I'm with Nanch Harner and Associates. We're located at 1643 Commerce Drive in South Bend. Thank you to the staff for doing such a great job on detailing the petition. It makes it much easier for me to just add a few additional comments. Additionally, the product that they're presenting here, after they remove the 3 existing townhomes, or villas, I should say, is a duplex townhome product. The reason for the access drive, although it's really just an extended driveway, is to take all those garages and face them away from East Village Drive. These townhomes will have porches in the front of them, so they're trying to create a tighter knit community to create more of a feel of neighborhood and keep some additional green space on the frontage. The opaque fence, screen fence that was shown in some of those photos that's currently along 933 will be continued down adjacent to the access driveway there. They're losing a lot of trees in that area, which it really hurts them. They don't like to take trees down, so we'll be adding quite a few trees back in place in between that trail and the back of that drive along with the fence. So it will be screened, heavily screened from 933. If you have any additional questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Basically, you're building an alley.
A pretty alley.
Pretty alley, yes.
Yeah.
But an alley none the same.
A hidden pretty alley. But thank you, yes.
That's fine. Understood.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll open this up to the public. Is there anybody who would like to speak in favor of this petition? Please step forward. Seeing none. Any on Zoom? Seeing none, is there anybody who would like to speak against this petition, please step forward. Seeing none, any on Zoom? Seeing none, public portion is now closed. You guys got anything else, or I'll take a motion?
Mr. Chairman, seeing as it is a pretty alley, I make a motion to approve the variance as requested.
Dr. Lauk, second.
We have a first and a second. Mr. Byers?
Yes.
Mr. Ritzma?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Velman?
Yes.
Dr. Lauk?
Yes.
Mr. Tavernier?
Yes, based on the testimony presented here today, after careful consideration, our Board of Zoning Appeals grants your variance and will issue written finding of the facts. Sorry. Everybody's gonna say this in their sleep tonight.
Petition number 9, location 51302 Hickory Road. Owner DBF Properties LLC. Variance from section 154.070 sub C2D3 to allow a subdivision frontage wall of 12 foot where a maximum height of 6 foot is permitted for a subdivision entrance gate containing a place identification sign. Zoning R Single Family District, County.
This is Sean Klein, APC Director. So as noted in a couple other recent petitions related to subdivision gates with signage, staff believes that the current sign ordinance is kind of ill-equipped to handle these entrance signs, which were previously permitted for developments, particularly low-density residential developments in Clay and Harris Township that often have similar gates and signage at their entrances. So in this case, the zoning ordinance does allow for only the signage portion to be counted towards the square footage of the gate, in that the wall is 3 times wider than that signage portion. However, it doesn't really adequately account for the fact that the height of the wall extends far beyond the actual signage itself. And in that it does only call the actual sign face the sign when it's 3 times wider, the only way to really classify this under the zoning ordinance is as a wall or fence. And in doing so, there is a maximum height of 6 feet when it is along the boundary street of a major subdivision. And really the intent there is to not allow a fence or wall to go along that entire street frontage, concealing the subdivision. It's not really meant to apply to these entrance gates, which actually kind of enhance the aesthetic character and don't give off that confined feeling. So that's the subject property. And this is where the entrance will be located once it receives full approval. And just as an example, here's an entrance to adjacent subdivision in the area, not at all out of character with what's being proposed here. There's subdivision plat and the proposed entrance gate. Turning to the state law criteria, as far as the first, we find that this will not have any broader impact on the community such that it would be injurious to public health, morals, or general welfare. Additionally, it's going to be well set back from Hickory Road such that there's no vehicular safety or any blockage of site issues to be concerned about there. The second criteria, we find that this would not be injurious, or rather have a substantially adverse effect on the use and value of the adjacent area. It does appear to be well designed aesthetically, so we don't think that this would be detrimental to the use and value of residential uses in the vicinity. Finally, turning to strict application. Strict application of the zoning ordinance would prohibit the developers of the subdivision to provide lasting visibility to residents, deliveries, and visitors in a manner that is entirely appropriate for low-density suburban residential uses and is within character with other previously developed subdivisions in the area. For those reasons, we do recommend approval of the variance.
Any questions? Why you look at me? So I want to understand your clarification here. So in this tiny, again, little picture that I get, the sign only refers to what is referring as Shamrock Manor on that brick facade, but because you're considering the rest of the facade a fence, it's limited to 6 feet, and now they're asking for basically a fence variance now is what it boils down to.
Correct. It's a structure that needs to be classified. It most closely meets the classification of a fence or wall.
Okay. Thank you. I'm bringing you a magnifying glass next meeting. Any other questions?
Bob Hayden, JPR, 325 South Lafayette, here on behalf of the owner for DBF Properties. We've designed this fence, as Sean said, to sit back from the right-of-way. It is out of the site angles for entrance and exit of the subdivision. The wall height is within the fence parameters. We're asking for the variance to allow the columns to be taller than that 6 foot standard. So the wall height itself will be 6 feet. The columns will be up to the 12 feet. And this is in character with the adjacent Farmington Hills. That fence, those columns there are almost 14 to 15 feet high. So this is actually below that level, but it will be a similar character to the adjacent fence just to the immediately south. Can answer any other questions if you have them.
The other question I had is, in your depictions, you show this as a gated community. Is that what it's going to be?
Which we've already gotten approval for that.
When was that? Oh, when you weren't here. Gotcha. Understood, thank you. I asked this because I have a special passion for signs. What's the purpose of the sign?
The naming of the community.
Are there attractions there or some type of business going there? They're trying to.
All
draw
residential
people to?
homes.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You guys got anything? Angela, you got something to add? No? Okay. All right. I think we're good to go. Thank you. We'll open this up to the public. Is there anybody who would like to speak in favor of this petition, please step forward. Seeing none, any on Zoom? Seeing none, is there anybody who would like to speak against this petition, please step forward. Seeing none, any on Zoom? Seeing none, public portion is now closed. You guys got anything else, or I will take a motion?
Go ahead.
Tom Byers, I move for approval of petition number 9 in accordance with the staff recommendation.
Dr. Laux, second.
We have a first and a second. Mr. Ritzma?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Bellman?
No.
Mr. Byers?
Yes.
Dr. Lauk?
Yes.
Mr. Tavernier?
Yes, based on the testimony presented here today, after careful consideration, the Area Board of Zoning Appeals grants your variance and will issue written findings of the facts. Shelley, give me 2 seconds for this one. Full transparency for petition number 10. There is a state statute that says that any of the board members are not able to communicate with anybody about this petition or about any petitions. And so full transparency, I have had more people reach out to me than ever for a petition, and I have not responded to anybody. I have not texted, emailed, or called anybody back that has reached out. So just throwing that out there. Now we can move on to petition number 10.
Location 50831 Ironwood Road. Owner Larry M. Ecker. Requested action. special use. Per section 154.457, sub C1C, to allow the construction of a new telecommunications tower in the R Single Family District. Variances, number 1, from section 154.458, sub A1, to allow a 275-foot telecommunications tower where a maximum height of 200 feet is permitted. Variance number 2, from section 154.458, sub A2, to allow a guided telecommunication tower where a tapering monopole is required. Variance number 3, from section 154.458, sub A5D, to allow telecommunication antenna arrays to be placed within 20 feet of each other where a maximum separation of 15 feet is permitted. In variance number 4, from section 154.458, sub A6, to allow a telecommunication tower with microwave dish antennas. Zoning, R Single Family District, County.
This is Sean Klein, APC Director. Just for the benefit of everyone in the room, procedurally, there's kind of two requests going on here. So the first is a special use petition for a telecommunications tower in the R Single Family District. It's not permitted by right in this district. A special use is always required. For a special use, the board will be making a recommendation, either favorable or unfavorable, to the county council. And it is the county council that will then make the ultimate decision whether to approve or deny that petition. And that will be at an additional public hearing before the county council. When it comes to the variances, the board will be making a final decision on those today, whether to approve or deny those variances. However, they will do that subject to the special use being approved by the county council. So if the special use is not ultimately approved, those will be void at that point. So turning to the actual petition, it is for the area highlighted on the screen on the west side of Ironwood. The tower in question would be located closer to the east end of the parcel. The specific intent of this tower is to provide ultra-low latency communication networks for financial markets. So a very specific use, which the petitioner can likely speak to better than I can. Related to that specific use are the variances that they have requested, and we will turn to those in a moment. We're good. This is the front portion of the site near Ironwood. Looking north on Ironwood at the front edge, looking south along Ironwood at the front edge. This is the property to the east across Ironwood as viewed from the property. This shows where the proposed tower would be constructed. It would have access from Ironwood Road. And again, just a close-up of where it's located. And then this is what the proposed tower would look like. It would be, as proposed, 275 feet, which in turn requires the height variance that you'll be considering. I'll let the petitioner speak to these. Okay, so in terms of the special use, they are requesting a special use to allow a telecommunications tower in the R Single Family District. There are 4 criteria in state law to consider when making a recommendation on a special use. The first being that the proposed use should have no impact on public comfort, community moral standards, convenience, or general welfare. Staff finds that provided that the special use is based on a condition wherein adequate space is left on the tower and in the compound area to allow for the co-location of at least 4 cell phone providers, that the proposed special use could actually enhance general welfare and convenience, and we feel that it has no broader impact on the community such that it would be detrimental to public comfort or community moral standards. Turning to the second criteria, the proposed use will not injure or adversely affect the use of the adjacent area or property values therein. The effect of this special use would be in terms of the visual impact and the fact that at that height, it would need to be lit for federal law. The compound itself, given the setbacks that are proposed and the mature trees in the area, would not be visible to any of the developed residential uses in the area. Of course, the tower itself at 275 feet would be visible given the angle of sight from existing single-family homes. However, based on the information available prior to the public hearing, staff feels that it is unlikely that the mere visibility of a tower from a residence really has any substantial impact on its future use and value. Given the demands for wireless telecommunication, it's kind of commonplace to be able to see a tower from a developed residential subdivision. And we don't feel that the impact on the quiet enjoyment of the residential property, if there is any, it would be very minimal. Turning to the third criteria, the proposed use being consistent with the character of the district in which it is located and the land uses authorized therein. Given the nature of telecommunication towers, it's really not ever possible to make them entirely compatible with the aesthetics that you want to promote in those districts. However, the need for telecommunications often makes them necessary within those areas. Further, we find that this is similar to a case where in the A agricultural district, there's often parcels that are not developed that get cell towers by right that are in close proximity to heavier residential development. In those cases, as long as they're located within 500 feet of the existing development, they are permitted by right. And this structure would be further than 500 feet from any of the single-family homes in this vicinity. Finally, turning to the fourth criteria, the proposed use being compatible with the recommendations of the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan doesn't really deal with anything with this level of specificity. However, the future land use map does designate this area for continued low-density residential use, which in turn implies that it would continue to be zoned our single-family district, which does allow for this special use. Provided that it meets the criteria before you, sorry.
Okay, you're okay. All right, we'll go on to the variances. So the first one is to allow a maximum height of 200 feet. Looking at the state law criteria, and then maximum height of 200 is permitted, and they're asking for 275 feet. Then they're asking for a guide tower where tapering monopole is required. So just to give you an idea, monopole is just basically the straight tower, where the guide tower is the one with the wire or what was shown in that site plan. And then finally, the other one is to allow the antenna arrays to be placed within 20 feet of each other, where 15 is permitted, and then to allow one with microwave dish antennas. For the first state law criteria, we found approval to allow a taller and structurally different tower utilizing a specific type of transmission technology would not have any impact on the broader community, such that these variances could be considered detrimental. The variances will not be injurious to public safety, as the tower is designed to collapse with a maximum fall radius of 75 feet. So we don't find if it fell, it would fall to be an injurious amount. And finally, allowing the antennas to be spaced 20 feet rather than the 15 will not be injurious to the general welfare, provided that there's still ample room for co-location. For the second state law criteria, as we mentioned, it would be set back 500 feet from all existing residential uses, which is similar to what would be required if in the A district where it's permitted by right. The additional 75 feet in height would not affect adjacent properties substantially adverse manner, and the limited visibility of the tower resulting from the setbacks suggests the use of a guide tower and microwave dish antennas rather than the less visually obtrusive options required by the ordinance would have no adverse impact on the properties in the area. And then, based on the petitioner's submittal, it appears that the specific telecommunications network they seek to provide requires use of a taller tower and microwave dish antennas, and use of the antennas as opposed to the type of array used on the telecommunication towers further justifies the use of the guide lattice structure as opposed to the monopole and the greater distance between the antennas. So we do, to summarize, we do recommend the special use be sent to the county council with a favorable recommendation, just based off of the limited information we do have before us today. But we do recommend a condition that the tower and compound be able to accommodate the location of 4 cell phone service providers. So as we mentioned, it is a very specialized use at this time, but we would like to have that condition so that in the future it could be broadened, or the use could be broadened. And then we recommend that the 4 requested variances be granted, subject to approval of the special use, as Sean mentioned. We can take any questions at this time.
Barry, I want to make sure I understand the ag district correctly.
Sure.
In an ag district, if they're 500 feet away, are they permitted by right if they do not exceed 200 feet?
Yeah, the 200 feet is a standard that would be required regardless of the district. So yes, if it were a tower, like say if it were an industrial district or an agricultural district where they're both permitted by right and it wanted to be 275 feet, they would still need that variance.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little confused by variance request number, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4. Antenna arrays to be placed within 20 feet of each other where a maximum separation of 15 feet is permitted. That doesn't make sense to me. They want to make them less than 20 feet or?
The requirement is a separation of 15 feet, that they're 15 feet apart. And yeah, I think that the petitioner can probably speak to that request.
Because I would think that you would want then a minimum of 15 feet and they're asking for more than 20, so. Okay, I'll let them.
Yeah, I think the logic is if they're closer together, there's more room for co-location, which is why the ordinance requires that 15 feet.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that makes more sense. All right, and they want 20 feet.
Correct.
Understood. All right, thank you. You guys got anything? No? Name
Good
and
afternoon.
address, and you got 10 minutes.
Sure, thank you. Good afternoon, board members. My name is Caitlin Elias. I'm an attorney with the Dickinson Wright Law Firm. It's located at 2600 West Big Beaver in Troy, Michigan. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, McKay Brothers. I have both Tim Fincham, who is the project manager of this project, as well as the engineer who helped prepare the site plans. They're here with me today, so if you have specific questions about the design or operation of the tower, I'll respectfully defer to them. But in terms of our actual application here, so just to kind of clarify the record, and I apologize in advance if there was any inconsistencies in the application materials, but this is for a self-supporting tapered structure. So it's not a guide tower, it's a self-support tower. And so that site plan right there, that's what it'll look like. It does provide for co-location. So all of our towers that we build are specifically designed to be co-located with other wireless providers, including all of the cell phone carriers. And then we also provide co-location to the municipal EMS or like fire department services. They can co-locate on the towers for free. So I did want to put that into the record. In terms of any additional photo simulations, so we did receive additional photo simulations this morning. If the board's interested in seeing those, I can connect to my laptop and show those to you. But It really is designed to help support the infrastructure in the area, provide additional capabilities, as I mentioned, for co-location. The lease, so there's a lease that's designed and actually contemplates additional co-location. So in the event any of the additional wireless carriers need to come in, put their equipment onto the tower, and then also have ground equipment, that leased area can be expanded to accommodate that ground equipment as well. It's on a 29-acre parcel, so there's plenty of room to expand that ground space as well for the leased premises. We did submit, a narrative written preparation just supporting all the different factors. Thank you so much to Sean and his team for the positive staff report and going through each of the different factors and explaining our support and satisfaction of each of those. But happy to answer any questions specific to the variance requests that are on the table.
We did forget to mention as well, we received 19 letters for monstrance, and all of those have been forwarded to you all, and you have them in your packet.
So off of the leased portion of the property, how much is it that you're actually leasing and for how long?
I don't have the lease in front of me. I believe the site plan shows, I think, a 500 square foot area. Yeah, I can defer.
It's a 50 by 50 compound. My name is Kevin Cunny with the WT Group.
Yeah.
Our compound is 50 by 50.
All right, how long is the lease for?
It's a 10-year lease with 4 options of 10 years each, so it's a long-term lease.
Which is standard for these types of tower leases. They can go anywhere from 5 to 25 years with those renewal terms as well, so.
So 11 years down the road, this technology doesn't work anymore or along those lines, just hypothetical, right? What happens to the tower? What happens to the ground? What happens to everything around it?
I didn't say who I was, by the way. My name is Tim Fincham. I'm with McKay Brothers, 2355 Broadway, Oakland, California. If you want to make a condition of the approval that the technology goes away, then we would remove the tower.
That's not, I'm asking what happens.
I got some. So when this would go through commercial plan review, they are required to have a decommissioning plan with surety posted.
Never mind, there you go. And why, my last question is, which is probably the million-dollar question everybody's wanting to know, why 275 and not 200?
Can you go to that plan with the?
The diagram, perfect, thank
Yes.
you.
Okay, as you can see, the brown and all the green, that's the topography, and so the signal has to clear between the sites. There's a site to the west and a site to the east, and so the signal has to clear the topography to make the system work.
So this system doesn't work at all right now?
We have a network right now. This is an improvement to the network.
Understood. Okay. That's all I got. You guys got anything?
So just, I have a clarifying question. So with what you stated, that this is not a guide wired pole, that would require then that variance number 2 would not be required to allow a guide communication tower, or because it references a tapering monopole, that still is required?
Yeah,
then?
it would still be required. So the requirement is a tapering monopole. Anything other than that requires.
And you can't do a taper monopole because it's above 200 feet?
Well, when the monopoles get that tall, they begin to sway, which impacts the signal.
Understood. Can you explain this to a layperson? Because I see a lot of footages referenced there. I see one footage that says 196 feet. I see another one that references 250 feet. What does this all mean?
Okay, this is the Clayview site, and this is the Bristol, Indiana,
Okay,
probably about 30 miles maybe.
sure.
And the topography, this is the topography with this point, and so the signal has to be higher than the topography. And then the curvature of the earth also impacts this,
Sure.
so this is what this reflects.
But on that minimum clearance footage that you have there, it shows 937 feet.
That is the elevation. plus the
Total
tower.
elevation. Okay, understood. Thank you for the clarification. Okay.
And I'll make another point just for the record, just because Tim mentioned tree coverage. You may have seen from some of the photos that were presented that there is a lot of tree coverage in the area, which is going to help with, the visibility screening and preventing.
Stop, please.
The location was specifically chosen so that there were a lot of large, mature trees around the area to help with the screening.
It would be your stipulation that,
Hold on one second. Listen, everybody's gonna get a chance to talk. There's no reason to be interrupting the petitioner. If we can keep it to a minimum, that'd be great. Otherwise, I'll ask you to go out into the lobby. Go ahead.
so it'd be your contention that a 200-foot monopole, the site would not be sufficient for your needs for this type of application you're doing, correct?
That's correct.
Would because this is an allowed special use in there at 200 feet, would a standard cell phone tower at 200 feet be applicable for this location?
Absolutely. My experience was in the cellular world before I started working for this company, so most cellular providers need to be less than 200 feet.
Okay. And you specifically referenced low latency signals. I'm slightly ignorant in all of this, but it was my impression based off of research I did many years ago when other cell phone companies were selling different portions of the spectrum. I thought low latency was actually better to move across larger spans without having to worry about site clearances.
I think the latency term is probably incorrect.
Okay, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah. I think the important thing about the microwave, in case people are concerned about health concerns, the energy goes from the antenna to the other antenna, and it's a directed energy, and so there's no RF bleed down from the tower. So it's a nice technology. There's no health effects because of the antenna.
So this technology is different than cell phone.
Yes, because a cell tower antenna is trying to broadcast out and that hits your phone, so there's energy.
Although we're asking you to assist in co-locating at least 4 cell phone people, so I guess that really doesn't count in this case.
A point of clarification, you said earlier that this is not a guide tower. The petition says multiple times it's a guide tower, so.
That's why I asked.
The site plans are clear with the self-support structure, and I do apologize if there were in the application narrative any references to the guide tower.
The affidavit that was included also refers to it as a guide tower.
The CDs reflect a self-support tower by name. And to clarify, self-support meaning no guide wires.
Please step up to the microphone.
Self-support meaning no guide wires.
I think an important part of the affidavit too is the reference to the maximum fall radius of 75 feet. That's supportive of a self-supporting tapered tower and not a guide tower.
One last question I have about the technology being used. I saw a lot of different terms about financial networks and stuff like that. Is this a general purpose use, or is there a specific, point of the citizenships that can be able to utilize this?
Well, McKay Brothers provides an open network for financial entities then to ride on the tower.
And financial entities being
Banks.
myself or banks and like other?
Banks,
Okay.
financial entities.
Question for you there. I noticed the elevation's only like 775 where the tower's at. Is there a reason you chose this location since could be taller?
On the Clayview side?
Yeah, because there's higher points in St. Joe County than 775 for elevation.
I did the site acquisition for this site. I thought the site was uniquely positioned, especially given the area, large piece of property, mature woods. And it's the main reason, we had to place the site on the line. And so the property was very well suited for a tower.
Are we,
And that blue line indicates the lowest, like, the signal droop because of what? 'Cause I guess what I'm getting to, let me,
There's fade in the signal, so that's the lower bit.
right, that's what, you're gonna have loss, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Yes.
Because what I'm seeing is your basically what it boils down to is you've indicated that the Bristol site is at 725. I can't, because of the little dot there, see what that is. That 730 something is the Clayview site. And you're stating that the portion that you need right there is 937 feet. That to me is only 200 feet. But you're asking for 250. It would just lead me to believe that you could get away with a 200-foot pole, which wouldn't require any type of variance.
So I think at the bottom it says 725.
Well, it says
And-
725 on the Bristol side. I see a 73 something.
It says 735 here, and then
Oh, so,
So you're,
well, that would be weird that it would be
that's your,
735
so you're
and
2 foot
725.
short to get to your 200 feet there, so. That leads me to believe you could maybe get a little bit lower one in. I'm just asking out of ignorance.
Yeah, I'll leave it to the engineers to respond about the possibility of it being lower, but that might be possible. But I don't know that it would, if we were able to reduce the height, I don't know that it would be reduced all the way below 200, which right now, the zoning ordinance says a maximum height of 200. So, yeah, I'll leave it there.
Yeah, just leave it there.
well, 75 foot's a big
difference.
right? So, I mean, if there's a possibility for the tower to be 225 or 210, I mean, that'll take into effect a lot of people's decisions on whether or not this would be approved, not approved.
Yeah, because one other point I'll make on that is, reading our ordinances sometimes, even with or without glasses, is tough. What's FAA requirements? Anything above 200 feet requires the lighting?
That's correct. Anything above
Above 200 requires.
It says at 199 and at 200. then it
200
requires-
is the switch that
The
requires
FAA
the
has
light.
requirements
Yeah.
about that.
One other question I want to ask is, have you had any kind of public open house or any kind of public conversations with anybody in the area about this?
I have not.
I'm sorry?
I have not.
Okay.
I think to address the previous point, though, about the tower height reduction, we'd have to go back and talk to our engineers. And so respectfully, if that is something that's going to be a consideration, before a vote today, we would ask to just table this and allow us to go back to the engineers and perhaps present additional supporting materials for a reduced tower height if that's of interest to the board.
Well, from the conversations that I kind of hear and from the petition, sounds like we're going to have to do something with it anyways, right?
Okay, so what staff and I have been trying to figure out is the advertised variance for the guide tower and whether or not that causes a problem for what they need to do today. It appears that the tower that they have described that they are asking for as a self-supported tower is closer to compliance with the monopole requirement than a guide tower would be, which should allow us to move forward with that particular variance because what was advertised is a greater diversion from the standard than what they're actually asking for.
Okay.
Well, not that I want to push this meeting to next month.
That's what I'm saying. We don't have to for that reason.
Well, but it appears that the tower can actually be lower, right? Or the engineers could actually.
Well, for me,
look
it
at
would be, I would need more substantiation of a requirement over 200 feet based off of this diagram they've given me. I mean, there's also some fact, they just go cut off the top of those trees and they're covered as well too at 200 feet, right? So, sorry, trying to be funny. So,
Something that the board could do is if it feels that it has enough information to send a recommendation on the special use, but not on the variances, you can make your recommendation on special use and table the variances for more information, if that's something that the board would like to do.
Yeah, but we'd be making that special use on the 275, right?
Yeah, I
It
wouldn't.
would, you'd be making the special use with no variances allowed at that point, which would essentially be recommending a special use that would be in compliance with the zoning ordinance requirements.
and then they'd have to come back for the variance.
And then they would have to come back with more information on the variances they're asking for. It wouldn't quite be what the petitioner really wants, because what the petitioner wants is to know that they have a favorable recommendation and they'd be able to do it exactly how they want it. But it would move it along such that the council could start working on their end of the special use portion of it, if that's something that the board would be interested in doing, instead of kicking the whole thing.
Yeah, but
I
if
don't know,
we-
Brandy, I agree with that, but I feel like I want the whole picture regardless, so I think it's fair for us to have.
And if we punt it to next month, that gives them the opportunity to have a public open house to have conversations, because clearly there's people that,
I'm not telling you what you should or shouldn't do, I was just telling you that is an option if you wanted to.
So I'm gonna go on the recommendation here of that I feel like we should table this to next month due to needing that information, and also on the suggestion that you guys have some sort of open house or town hall.
So you would need to vote on that, you would need a motion and a second.
DJ, can I also ask one other condition for the tabling? Is it possible to get a site rendering to photo simulate what this tower would look like in the current topography and the actual layout
Yeah.
of?
I do have those today. If there's a way to connect my laptop, I can bring those up on the screen.
We need them printed off.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then we have to keep them so that we can put them in our records,
Okay.
so. So, I'll go ahead and make the motion that we table this petition until next month.
I'll second. Donnie?
We have a first and a second to table to September's meeting. Mr. Byers?
Yes.
Dr. Lauk?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Velman?
Yes.
Mr. Ritzma?
Yes.
Mr. Tavernier?
Yes, petition is tabled till, September, right? So,
September 10th, I believe.
September 10th. I'm sorry you guys all sat through that, but we're gonna move on.
Our meeting isn't over, so we need everybody to
Yep.
not converse until they hit the hallway.
We still got a couple things that we gotta go over, so if we can have our conversations outside, that'd be fantastic. Yes, I'll be here. There was, well, yeah, you can tell, you can tell them.
Staff, you know, you said there's in a straight line to communicate with each other, the towers.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, our meeting is still live right now.
We can do that.
A map of all the towers and where they're pointing and where,
I'll request it for sure.
you understand?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. What was discussed?
And what the distance and range is of the towers.
For the entire network.
Sydney
Yeah.
was requesting that another piece of the information provided on that petition between now and the next meeting be like maps of where these towers are in relation to the one they're proposing.
Okay.
All right, I lost my paper, sorry. We got findings of facts.
Donnie Ritzma, I make a motion to approve the finding of facts for July 9th, 2025's meeting.
Dr. Lauk, second.
All right, everybody's here, nobody's on Zoom, so motion is second to approve July 9th, 2025 findings of facts. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The minutes for July 9th.
Donnie Ritzma, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the July 9th, 2025 meeting.
Dr. Lauck, second.
All right, motion and a second to approve the July 9th, 2025 minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Sean, you got anything?
Nope, nothing else, thank you.
I make a motion to adjourn. Joe Bellman.
I second.
Joe, make a motion to adjourn. Sydney seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Perfect. Thank you, guys.